Hey, what's good, people? It's back. Sports Debate Tuesday. I believe it's episode 97. We're like 3 away from 100, so I felt obligated to try to get to 100. And listen, my partner in crime returning back from the Fight Inside podcast. This is Timmy B. The episode starts right now. Hey, got to give the people what they want. Welcome back. This is the Option Presents Sports Debate Tuesday, along with my man Timmy B. I am Jason DeBilius, and this entire episode will be dedicated to mixed martial arts, and more specifically, and more likely, the UFC. So, yeah, for those of you that enjoyed some of the football pick sixes and some of the well-known guests that we've traveled that have challenged us for the pick six, today is me and the master from the Fight and Sight podcast. We're gonna dance. You ready? All
Let's
strapped
do it.
in? All
Yeah,
right.
we're
Hey,
good.
so let's start with topic number one. All right. So got a little um how can I say, like a little refresher thing, and we're talking about exciting divisions. All right. So um the cool thing about divisions is anyone that's followed the sport knows that this comes in cycles. Right. If we remember, there was John Jones when he won the title. There was Shogun. There was Hua, Rashad Evans. Even Quentin Rampage Jackson said that he was in the best shape of his life when he fought John Jones. Right.
Yeah.
And then let's go to when Conor McGregor toured through the featherweight division. We had Chad Mendez. We had Frankie Edgar. Jose Aldo seemed unstoppable at the time. And the lightweight division, I think we can talk about year in and year out. A division so strong that even Conor McGregor couldn't even amass a positive win-loss record, right?
No.
I believe he's 2-3 in the division, and 3-4 if you count him fighting a lightweight in the welterweight division, and Nate Diaz, one of the more exciting fights of the year. So, and even before the monopoly shifted, and I'm going to take you back, and you probably go back this far. Before the UFC won the kind of franchise wars, if you looked at the heavyweight division or the heavyweight rankings, 6 of the top 10 weren't even a division. I bring you Alistair Overeem. I bring you Josh Barnett. I bring you Daniel Cormier. Many of these fighters were in Strike Force or Pride. Fedor Emelian, the king,
Yeah,
Fedor
of
Emelianenko.
course.
So my question to you, and we're actually going to do 1 minute lightning rounds. I'm going to give you a whole minute of time to actually just explore, and then whatever happens between your minute and my minute, if it spills over, let's keep talking, buddy. Okay, Timmy
Sure.
B. Timmy B. What is the most exciting division in terms of competition and galvanizing fights? Now we've given this some thought. The floor is yours. What is the most exciting division in the UFC?
You're gonna get so mad and it's gonna get canceled immediately. But I think right now, if you look at the rankings of the different divisions, you get a lot of like you think bantamweight is incredible because you got Sean O'Malley there and you've got Aljamain and Marab and all that. You think that that's a great one, but maybe not. Heavyweight, it's a little bit lacking as well, even with Jones as champion. You've got the lightweights, which is good, and it's always a solid division. Middleweight, very interesting with Sean Strickland as champion, but now that Adesanya is saying that he's taking some time away from the sport, we don't know where that's going to go. Light heavyweight definitely right now is not a great division. There's kind of some fluctuation there. But I am going to say that the most exciting division right now, which is crazy. If you asked me this in January of this year, I would have said, get the hell out of here. But I'm going to say it's women's flyweight.
What?
Women's hold on, wait. Women's flyweight. Because
Yes.
who the hell would have ever thought that Shevchenko would lose her title and then lose the rematch? I don't care whether you think that's controversial or not, but she lost the rematch. So now you've got a division that's wide open. And not only that, but I would say I had called for this person to be champion. I think at my end of year show last year, I said the prospect to watch out for was Manon Fiorot, who's from France, the beast. She's kicking ass, and she's right now ranked number 3. You've got Erin Blanchfield, who's just murdering chicks left and right, taking out prospects as well. She's ranked number 2. Then you've got Talia Santos. You've got Shukagian. Fine, who cares about her? But you've got Macy Barber at number 8, who's a streaking flyweight. You've got Amanda Hebas, who's very good, and you've got the very marketable Tracy Cortez, who is beating everyone they put in front of her. So I think, and Tracy Cortez is only ranked 12th. And then my prospect for this year, who had, I believe I called it as knockout of the year for last year, Natalia Silva, she's ranked number 13. That's not including Casey O'Neill at number 14. That division is stacked. All those fights are going to be incredible. Those women are gun hungry for this title, and I feel like the women's flyweight division is incredible. So
Yeah.
I know everybody's going to hate me, but that is the division I'm looking forward to. That top 15 is all stacked.
I loved your
and
pick.
It's fights we haven't seen.
Dude, I loved your pick so much, and I gave you extra time on that. I was trying to fix some. I have a green screen, so I had to go from Lumi key to chroma key. So so sorry for the technical difficulties, people. But I think it's a very, very a lot of people don't see that coming, but I think your rationale is extremely clever. So with that being said, here I go. And I was really, really torn about this between welterweight division and the lightweight division. I thought me selecting lightweight was a little bit lazy because it seems like that, the more popular fighters and the more exciting fighters of the last few years have been in that division. I bring you, Conor McGregor. I bring you Dustin Poirier. I bring you Khabib Nurmagomedov the last few years. But we are talking about what's the most exciting division today. And it was a very, very razor close race because a lot of people are jumping divisions. But I still got to go light heavyweight. You got Dustin Poirier, who should be the champion. You got Justin Gaethje, who should be the champion. You have Bobby Green, one of the most exciting fighters in terms of galvanizing fights, and he's on a little bit of a win streak himself. I think his last loss was Islam Makhachev, right? And he choked out Tony Ferguson and won his most previous one. So when you take all of those things into play, Dan Hooker, who's one of the better fighters in the world, doesn't even fit in the top 10 anymore. Probably not even the top 15. You're talking about a division that's stacked. You're talking about a division that has fighters that transcend the sport, meaning people that don't know, don't watch MMA know who they are. And you're talking about a division that's so deep that an undefeated fighter actually retired, and it's still pretty strong. Okay, spillover. First of all, I love your choice. When you said it, my instinct was,
I saw your face. I saw it.
I said, we do drug testing on Sports Debate Tuesday. You know that, right?
Let's get this idiot out of here. This guy's no good. Get him out.
But there's something about Timmy B, ladies and gentlemen. When you're right on the facts, you're right on the facts. And when you start listing off historical facts some of these fighters that got performance bonuses and some of these fighters that got fight of the night, make yours 125, right? Make yours 125, yeah. And I mean that's also segue to our next topic, which I'm going to get into in a minute. So I mean, I totally get it. You had the former champion who took Amanda Nunes to the hilt, and many people thought she won that first fight, right?
Yeah.
There are a bunch of people that thought she won that first fight. I myself thought Amanda Nunes won, but if she lost, I don't think anyone got screwed there. It's not like it wasn't like obvious as obvious. And she'd also submitted Juliana Pena, who defeated Amanda Nunes, and she beat Holly Holm. Wow.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yep.
Ooh. Wow. Testing your sound. So your thoughts about me doing the lazy pick of lightweight?
No, I don't think lightweight is a bad pick at all. I think lightweight is the division, of course, that is interesting. I just think that for me, when I think of most interesting, it also brings into play fights we haven't seen before. And I feel like the lightweight division is a bunch of fighters that we've kind of all seen intermix and fight one another at some point. Mm-hmm. So although it's 15 deep of just killers, mm-hmm. It is 15 deep of killers that we've seen a lot of, whereas the women's flyweight has a lot of new matchups coming down the road. So I'm like, okay, these are fights that we haven't seen before. And, for a division that was so stagnant for so long, where everyone just thought, well, Valentina's just going to mop the floor with everyone until she decides to retire. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, all of a sudden, This is interesting. This is exciting. And, one of the things I always like is when someone loses, how do they rebound? So now Shevchenko, you've lost 2. How are you going to do against Erin Blanchfield? How are you going to do against Manil Fiorot? Like, how are you going to do against these young and up-and-comers now that you've got doubt in your mind? Now that you're not impenetrable anymore, and maybe now that you're not carrying that title, could be a different ball game now. So I feel like everything's opened up, and that's why I'm picking that one. But lightweight, I love it, of course. And my man, Bobby Green.
I was going to say we're biased a little bit.
He beat Tony Ferguson, but he also just had his last win against Grant Dawson a couple weeks ago. Don't forget that. 20
First
seconds or whatever
round.
the hell that was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I made a lot of money off that,
Yes.
baby.
Are
That
you
was a very profitable win for me.
look, call us prisoners of the moment and call us biased because we love Bobby Green so much, but how could anyone even take a bet against that guy? Like right
Yo,
now.
it was
I mean,
5-1 odds or something like that. I got him at like a plus 500 or something like
and
that.
I
It was
think
crazy.
you came on the podcast and I was like, "How was your weekend?" And you're like, "I wanna be rich. Oh, I want money. Lots and lots of money."
It was a very profitable that card was very profitable, man, for me. So I was very happy with that. But no, that division is fantastic. Lots of good people, and I think that's definitely a solid pick for sure. At first, I think you misspoke and you said light heavyweight, and I was
Oh
like, oh
yeah.
no, this is a bad pick of yours. But then you
No.
said lightweight, and I was like, okay,
And
yeah,
and I
lightweight, we're good.
And it's crazy. Actually, before we go into our next topic, let's talk a little bit about light heavyweight. And there's this, it's the biggest roller coaster. I guess you can make an argument for heavyweight where it's exciting and then there's just this huge crash. It's almost like
Yeah,
the strength a mother has to like pull her baby, like lift a car and rescue her baby, and lift the car so the baby can get out. But then there's this boom. And
yeah,
I think post John Jones, we had that. There was a huge disinterest in the light heavyweight division. And
yep,
they just weren't interesting fights. And you saw a lot of cage chess in the division.
yep,
Some of the
yep,
more important fights. Cage chess, for anyone that's asking, is when someone's pressing someone against the cage, and like MMA purists like me, Timmy B and I know that they're looking for, single leg, double leg, and trying to protect their face, and but to some of the general fans, it just looks like two guys who are just wrestling against the cage, and out come the boo birds, right? I
yeah.
want my money back. This is the main event. This is five rounds of this. So there was a little bit of that. Go ahead, Tim.
No, people
No.
just claim, yeah, people just claiming they want their money back, and they were streaming the event. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's how bad it can get, right?
Like
So
Dana doesn't like him either. He's like, guys, I'm charging all these people more money for pay-per-views.
yeah,
What are you
yeah,
doing? Do you
yeah,
want to be
exactly.
Do you want to be a fighter? I just like,
Yeah,
do I need to give
the
that
thing
speech
is,
again?
yeah, yeah, man. The thing is that like you're very correct. Divisions will go in their peaks and valleys, their ebbs and their flows, and you'll hit it at certain times when it's extremely exciting, and then there'll be like a little bit of a lull where you need some contenders, and you need some faces too, right? Like you can't have people that are not marketable. So there can be those little periods of time, and right now, light heavyweight with injuries plaguing the division, with some people exiting and retiring and stuff like that, we're in a little bit of a lull right now. So, but we've got plenty of other divisions to
Yeah.
keep us entertained, plus other organizations, which we haven't even talked about. When you were telling me to pick a division, I was gonna say my close second place was female atom weights in ONE FC. I was gonna say that division, because that division is crazy too. But
Yeah.
we're not for lacking. If you're
No.
an MMA fan, you're not lacking with entertainment.
I do remember when they were saying the lightweight I mean the flyweight division for men was actually weak, and I totally disagreed. I thought Benavidez was good. I thought they were, they were top heavy, right? Henry Cejudo.
Yeah.
Like think of the laundry list of people he beat. Who's the guy he beat in 4 minutes and 59 seconds in the fifth round?
Uh, uh,
Um,
the Ray Borg,
no, that
was it
Borg was the jumping
the jumping flying
armbar.
suplex armbar? Who was
Something
the
that
other
if you
one?
and I rehearsed probably couldn't do.
No, never. Not
Yeah,
even a million years.
no.
Yeah, okay, no, I can't remember
Look,
who that was.
it'll
It Benavidez? Maybe it was Benavidez,
no,
or
no, it
was
was
it?
the Asian
No.
guy. It was a Korean fighter. Um or someone that looked Korean. But anyway,
Anyways,
I guarantee between you and me it'll pop in our head as we continue to our
yeah,
next
yeah,
subject
yeah.
matter. Okay, topic 2. We are going to talk about the underdog, okay? Not the dog in the cartoon with a superhero cape fighting crime. We're talking underdogs in sports, more specifically, the underdog in mixed martial arts, more specifically, the underdogs in the UFC. I hope that doesn't mess with your pick. Now, there are fighters that we as pundits and fans and purists and even other fighters cheer for in a fight, even though in our heart of hearts, we know that they're not going to win. It's almost like watching Die Hard, Bruce Willis. You think this guy's going to die, but you cheer for him to live. And because that's Hollywood, right? he wins. But in mixed martial arts, you don't always have that happy ending for your underdog. But every now and then, those guys will surprise us, won't they? Every now and then, they'll say, hey, you cheered for me, and I came through. Just ask anyone from the Sarah Longo team. Matt Serra, Ray Longo, I guess, fighting team, their team in New York. Just ask Chris Weidman, who's in that team. Just ask Aljamain Sterling. I don't think a lot of people picked Aljo to beat Jan. Just
no, of
ask,
course not.
No. How about Matt Serra? Which his victory over George St. Pierre was probably the biggest upset in the history of mixed martial arts, not just the UFC. Nobody saw that coming. And the Ultimate Fighter winners. It seems like everyone that wins an Ultimate Fighter scores an upset. Forrest Griffin beat Shogun for the belt. Rashad Evans beat Forrest Griffin. How about left hook Larry? Michael Bisping. I never thought I would be cheering for Bisping. I mean, the first time that those two fought, I was cheering for Rockhold, but he got so pompous. I'm just like, I wish and he stuck his chin out in the fight, and I'm like, I wish Bisping had the power to knock him out. And what a lot of people don't know is Bisping's lefty. He fights right-handed.
Yeah,
so
that's right. Yep.
Left hook Larry. So. Like topic one, that was then, and this is now. So my question to you, Timmy B, is what is the upset of the year as of this October? We still got the pay-per-view this weekend, and we still got November, which I'm gonna have a huge upset pick for that one. The floor is yours, my man.
Oh boy. I mean, it's tough. And going back through the records, like it's hard to remember all the fights that we've watched. And probably there has been better upsets than the one I'm going to take, because I bet on this guy to win anyways, because I thought it was going to happen. But I feel that the public did not. And so I regret that you had already mentioned it. But I feel it's when Sugar Sean O'Malley beat Aljo. I feel like that was really a stylistically horrible matchup for Sugar Sean. Again, the odds were greatly in my favor to bet on this. It was big odds. I think Sugar Sean brought in a lot of charisma and attention to the fight and stuff like that. Aljo, for some reason, gets booed the hell out of everywhere he goes, even in his hometown. Like he's like right next door. He's in New Jersey or whatever, getting booed, which is terrible for that dude because I do love him. But I think that for me, that was the biggest upset. It changed the world of that bantamweight division because Aljo before that was saying, I will retire, win, lose, or draw. Doesn't matter. I'm moving up. I'm leaving the division for Marab. And instead, what does he do? Now he's still stuck around. He's still begging for his rematch. He doesn't know what to do. He never thought he would lose like that. And Sugar Sean's sitting on top. So I think that was a very interesting underdog coming up for that win in a title fight in the way he did it.
Yeah. And Aljo's in dangerous territory right now because most fighters, when they want that last fight back, most fighters who should be retiring. I'm not saying Aljo's retiring, but in that category of that, there's this mentality of like, hey, one more, and it doesn't always go their way. So I really hope he just moves on to the division. Give Sugar Sean the rub, and maybe they'll have a super fight if Aljo's as good as he thinks he is for the featherweight division, perhaps, or not. It's just.
He's not.
So my biggest upset of the year, I was actually going to go. Okay, we're rolling. Are we rolling? Yeah. My biggest upset was going to be Sean Strickland beating Israel Adesanya, but when you look at the way styles make fights, it's not something that we're terribly surprised. It's not something I saw coming, but I'm like, okay, all right, boom. So I have to go your favorite division. I have to go Shevchenko and Alexa Grasso. That match happened March 4th. Alexa Grasso we knew was I got the name right before I
Yeah. No, I can't believe that was this year.
Yeah, so that was March,
I should have picked
that's
that.
March 4th this year. And you look at Alexa Grasso and you see she's a very balanced fighter. She's got a nice, healthy repertoire of good submissions, good striking, good wrestling. And we've seen people that looked good and looked very good. And we've seen them fight Shevchenko, and we've seen Shevchenko show that person that good or very good is not enough. And yet
Yeah.
here we are. She scored a submission, which we thought she was in a fortunate position in the fourth round to get the victory. And I guess proof in the pudding is nobody likes to have a draw, right? Because the draw goes back to the champion. But at the same time, she did not lose. So my upset of the year is congratulations to Alexa Grasso.
Yeah, I mean that's true, man. That nobody saw that coming.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and Grasso too. Like Grasso was not that impressive in all her other fights and wins. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't. It again. I've said this too many times today, but it's unlike Mano Fiorot coming up. It's unlike Natalia Silva coming up. Those girls are knocking chicks out. They're submitting people in devastating fashion. Erin Blanchfield, just murderer's row. She's going through and taking everybody out. Grasso wasn't like that. She didn't have that aura of like killer instinct. You didn't see it. It might be because she's so cute. You know what I mean? Like she's just such a good looking girl. And every time my wife walks by, she goes, "Oh, that's the pretty one." Right?
Yeah,
like that's how my wife knows her,
can
you
we
know?
like take her home and give her a bath or something? Yeah. Like cute, you know?
Yeah, like she's just like, oh, that's that good looking girl. You know, like that's how she recognizes her. But so for her to come up and get that win, I mean, insane. And in the way she did it too is beautiful. And then to defend it, regardless of whether it's a draw or whatever, to defend it the way she did, hey man, she deserves that title belt. And good for her.
What's one of your more favorite upsets? We'll go really quick before we go to our next topic. When it comes to mind,
Like of all time,
not of
kind
all
thing?
time, no, just like something that comes to mind. For example, I was when we were having this conversation, and we were talking about the bantamweight division and the featherweight division. I was thinking about TJ beating Henan Barao.
Yeah,
and just
that's an old school.
and look, and just his striking and his balance and his slips in and out looked very Dominic Cruz like, right? And he did it twice, but I was so impressed that everybody was like, okay, this is just another body for Henan Barao to bury, right? And then my other one, I think of Forrest Griffin, because I think we talked about him on the last podcast when he signed to fight Shogun. Everyone went to Dana White and said, "What did Forrest ever do to you?"
Yeah.
So like, what's one of your first one that comes to mind? What's your prisoner of the moment right now? Upset.
Probably one, and that's only because I was not educated myself. I mean, this was a time when there was no internet per se, or like social media wasn't a thing. But back when Anderson Silva made his debut and fought Chris Lieben was on a tear, and he was the guy, and he was the crippler, and he was the guy that would go through wars and whatever. And then, you bring in this lanky Brazilian dude who has like a very high-pitched voice, and you're just like, all right, what is this, And then
acting like you don't speak English. Go ahead.
And then starched him. Like it was a brutal beating, and it paved the path for what was like a decade of dominance from Anderson Silva. So to me, I mean, watching it in my no cell phone era time on a non-widescreen TV, on Spike TV,
yes,
and seeing that fight, you couldn't believe what you're doing. You were picking up your landline, calling people, going, "Did you just see that?"
Yeah,
right. Because we had no clue who Anderson Silva was. We didn't know where he was coming from.
No, call it what it is. Call it what it is. Call it what it is. We watched Spike TV that night because we knew Chris Lieben was fighting.
Of course.
Chris Lieben was on The Ultimate Fighter. His star power had this perfect storm and the timely knockouts, like you said. Even some of the fights after Anderson Silva, like Martin, like he knocked out Martin, looked like he was in trouble the third round, and just boom. It was pretty good. He fought Vanderlei Silva, I think.
Beat Vanderlei Silva. Yeah. And then went on after with some crushing uppercuts, and then went on, even after his UFC career, goes into BKFC and goes 2 for 3 in BKFC and retires on a good win in BKFC.
Yeah.
Couldn't write a better story.
Yeah, he's the guy where everyone thinks he's like the bad guy, but then you see him on the show and you empathize. All of a sudden you find yourself cheering for this guy that you weren't cheering for in the beginning. He was the Snooki of The Ultimate Fighter.
That's right. He was Snooki before there was a Snooki. Snooki is the crippler.
Nice.
That's what it is.
Dude, all right. Hey, let's go to our UFC Pick Six, and because you and I both agree that there weren't actually 6 fights worthy to be a Pick Six, we're only going to do 5, and we're going to do a match that's flying under the radar, our relatives unknown. So we're gonna get our 6, but for our audience, the sixth fight is not part of our Pick Six. It's just a fight. We're not, we may or may not just pick a winner, but we watch this one. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like a watch this
Yeah, yeah,
fight
yeah.
going. All right, so let's start. I usually go from bottom to top, but let's go top to bottom. Let's start with the main event. Let's start with Alexander Volkanovski, once again challenging Islam Makhachev for the lightweight title. This is a rematch. This is part 2 and a very, very exciting match, and many people considered razor close, and even some thought that Volkanovski won. I myself thought Makhachev did enough to win, but it is what it is. So we're gonna go. We're gonna split 60 seconds. You go first. Who wins this fight, or who has the best shot?
I'm going with Makachev. I think Volkanovski, look, conspiracy theory, Timmy B's coming out. I think they pay Volkanovski to come up, take this on short notice, tell him, dude, don't worry about it. This doesn't decrease your stock. We're going to actually give you a little bonus if you come in here and just fight this guy. Okay, cool. Wink, wink. I think Volkanovski's going in there. He'll try hard, but he's not going to win. I don't think he's expecting to win. I don't think anybody's expecting him to win. I think if there's any side deals to be had in the back, those deals have been had, and I would put my money on Makhachev.
Yeah, I go
I don't
with
even need my
Makhachev as
time.
well. Everyone's talking about all the adjustments Volkanovski needs to make against Makhachev to win the second fight, and no one takes into account the adjustment that Makhachev's team also takes. Right, the team and the training and the preparation that he does to prepare for fights. To my surprise, an undefeated fighter, right? Or no, he lost one. That it's the one thing that no one's talking about. Everyone's talking about changes that he has to make, but you have to remember that this guy is undefeated, and he's in the most
No.
savage division, and he showed some of his, very much like Khabib, he showed his best stuff in championship scenarios against Barboza, against it was
He's remember, he had a full training camp.
mhm.
Right? That's another thing. Remember, he's had a full training camp for a 5-round title fight. Volkanovski has not. That's got to play a factor too.
Right.
That's his natural weight class. That
Right.
is not Volkanovski's. I think there's too many variables at play that leads to Volkanovski not winning this rematch. And I also think it's terrible for Volkanovski to take this on such short notice, because if you lose this, you are never getting a trilogy fight.
Right. And he'll be in featherweight indefinitely, right? It's not something where 155 would welcome someone back that skipped the line twice, right? That jumped
You
the
can't
line.
skip it 3 times.
Yeah, not even Connor
Yeah.
could do that. I mean,
Yeah.
well, maybe
No,
Connor.
you cannot do that.
But I
Yeah.
do like that Volkanovski, like in that camp, City Fighting Sports. If you look at his lineup of fighters that shaped his fighting personality and aura to what it is now, right? Max Holloway 3 times, Brian Ortega. You got good strikers, you got good submission guys, and I really haven't seen someone that he's fought that had the wrestling or the sambo or whatever the hell's going on in Dagestan, Russia, whatever the hell they call that. Let's call it bear wrestling, okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Or cub wrestling. That kind of wrestler's freakish strength that Volkanovski has not ever seen in his fighting career, and probably won't ever see again. I mean, considering the featherweight division. Yep. All right, so
Yeah.
let's go fight number 2. I bring your attention to, actually, I was gonna scroll it on the screen, but I like our faces that so much better. We got Kamaru Usman against Khamzat Chimaev. Okay, I'll go first on the minute.
Yeah.
I'll leave you the last 30 seconds. I remember Khamzat Chimaev fighting Gilbert Burns, and I remember Gilbert Burns giving him everything he can handle in a match that I thought that Burns won. It was a unanimous decision, and I felt like some moron that knows nothing about MMA, and I'm like, how did Gilbert Burns not win that fight? So you take all of the things that Kamaru Usman did to Gilbert Burns, and I don't see him not trying to do that or doing that against Khamzat Chimaev. It might work or it might not work. Take into account it's the middleweight division, but I'm going with Kamaru.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the same. I got Kamaru Usman against everything that I just said about taking a fight on short notice, et cetera, et cetera. I do think Kamaru Usman poses a more interesting challenge for Khamzat. I feel like Khamzat's very cocky. I feel like I don't know what his mentality is for training. Usman has not just the wrestling to combat Khamzat, but he also has the striking power, as we've seen. So I do think Usman, with his previous championship experience, with his mentality, with his strength of mind, I think is going to be able to tackle Khamzat and beat him and cause a big problem in the middleweight division, because that's going to really just mess things up.
I also wouldn't be surprised if neither fighter goes for more than one takedown in this 3-round fight. I remind everybody, right? It's almost like seems like a championship thing, right? Or is it 5 rounds? No,
No,
no.
I think it's only 3 rounds, but I think
So
I don't
asking
know.
both of
I
those
might go
fighters,
I might go the opposite, because I think all you've got to do is ground someone, lay and prey on them for, a good 4 minutes in the first round, of 4 minutes in the second, and you've won that fight. Like,
I
you
mean,
don't have to do too much.
if it's a fight that Kamaru desires to fight, in which he desires to fight future fights in the middleweight division, and he's looking for the win more than just an exciting fight, I might agree with you. But I think Kamaru, I think he has some unfinished business. I don't know if he talked to the media about staying at middleweight, but there's almost a sense of unfinished business, especially if Kobe Covington beats sorry, who's the current fighter? Leon Edwards.
Leon Edwards. I
Yeah,
think they did say, I think Dana has been quoted as saying that the winner of this fight gets next title shot after Colby Leon.
yeah, and
So,
that's deserving. It's deserving.
well, yeah, sure, I guess. I mean, Kamaru's not technically a middleweight, but I guess if you're going to come up and beat Khamzat,
No. Oh,
I
so
guess you deserve it.
oh, you're talking about contendership for middleweight? No, come, Dana should not do that.
No, that's what I no, that's what they're wait, this is a middleweight fight, right?
Right, but they're both welterweights. So,
Oh, wait, who are they getting a title? I
oh,
don't know.
yeah,
I thought I heard that they're getting a title shot, but whatever.
okay.
Just edit this out so it makes me look smarter.
There's nothing I can say.
I
You
think
can
it's
say.
I think it's I think it's a title. I think this is, I swear, I think they said that this is a title contender.
Right.
And it
Oh,
would
it
be for
is.
middleweight.
I'm actually looking right now. I got my fact check people here. And
Hmm.
according to Wikipedia, the fight is expected to serve as a UFC middleweight title eliminator.
Leave that other part in there. I sound super smart now.
Yes, hold on. I got to get the whole shot of Fight Insight podcast. Got to get the whole picture. There he is, Timmy B, baby.
There we go.
Dude, I got to get some music for if I'm going to continue to do new music, if I'm going to continue to do Sports Debate Tuesday. I was thinking Step Into a New World by KRS-One.
Oh,
I
I like
actually
that.
reached out to them for the rights to the song for the first 16 seconds. Step
Nice.
into a world, and then yes,
Yeah.
yes, y'all, you don't stop. I think it's such a great intro, and whatever you do in the video that's in conjunction with that, it doesn't only helps,
It
doesn't
just,
hurt, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Strong.
yes. So we are going to fight number 3 of our pick 6 or pick 5, parentheses 6. We have Magomed and Ankalaev. Makes you shake your head. Going against Johnny Walker. You go first, my man. Floor is
I only
yours.
need like 2 seconds.
Go ahead.
Ankalev. I don't see how Johnny Walker has a chance. Johnny Walker is so streaky with his performances. Sometimes he looks like the next big thing. Other times he looks like a has been. Ankalev's just gonna maul this dude. I don't know. I don't see Johnny Walker having any chance in this. Not even close.
Well, good. I'm glad you left me just the amount of time for me to entertain our audience and then go with your pick anyway. All right, so let's talk about Johnny Walker since you talked about Ankalaev. Johnny Walker, winners of his last 3. Kutalaba is, not top of the division, but not a scrub either. Anthony Smith, probably not one of your favorite fighters, but still a top 10. And all of these fighters, I believe that Ankalev's already beaten. Kutalaba he's beaten twice, and if as far as styles making matchups, you couldn't pick a worser matchup for Johnny Walker. But
No.
I'm glad that he won in the fights to earn the right to lose. I think Ankalaev is the uncrowned champion in a fight against Jan Blachowicz. That after the fight, even Blachowicz himself said he didn't win that fight. That fight was a draw, and this guy kind of is the uncrowned champion, and I really hope he wins because he just deserved to face Jamel Hill. And that's the match that's going to make a lot of money for the UFC if he wins this. Well, whoa, I'll take that back. Let's say Johnny Walker wins. That's a
Johnny
match.
Walker would be a more sellable fight.
Yeah.
I
And
do think the audience is going to get a little bit bothered if we just continue to see the same type of fighter in
Mm.
each division achieve success. So like if all we have is a bunch of Makhachevs,
Right.
right, it does water down, I feel, the product a little bit. I also think Johnny Walker, just with his look and his style, is a lot more sellable to the average Joe walking down the street. If you
Right.
see Jamal Hill with his dad bod and his funny attitude and his funny jokes that this dude does, I mean, he's incredible
Mhm.
in terms of like outside of fighting character. Jamal Hill is sellable by all means. He's incredible. And then you put him up against Johnny Walker, very, very interesting fight. And that's going to be a stand-up war. I honestly don't really care to see Ankalev just wrestle Jamal Hill for 5 rounds, you know? So
Yeah. Well, I'm interested to see how Jamal Hill does against someone of that whatever. Is Ankalaev also a Dagestani fighter? Nah,
he's got the beard. He's got the beard.
he's
So
got the
it's close
The
enough.
Keebler elf, right? No mustache, no Nabisco shredded wheat beard. What the hell's wrong with y'all, man? Grow a goddamn mustache, boys.
Yeah, yeah. Add to it.
Yeah, that's a religion thing, man. Choose another religion, man. Y'all just look
Yeah, I don't know.
ridiculous. I mean, I ain't gonna say to none of their faces, and they all look alike. So I mean, so that from now on, I'm gonna walk down the street. If I see someone like that, I'm gonna run because that could be someone of the fight.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
could be we recognize, but damn, they all look alike.
Yeah. I just think if you're trying to
Mm,
sell
mm,
your product to the market, you're trying to sell it,
uh-huh.
you need to put on exciting matches. And I don't know that that style is going to get you a lot. And I don't know that you want to end successive pay-per-views with that kind of matchup. Like if you're selling that product and you're like, okay, for the next 3 months, my pay-per-views are all going to be headlined by Makachev, Ankalev, and Nurmagomedov. I
Yeah,
don't know. I don't. I can
yeah,
see a
and an
market for it,
already
but I can
hemorrhage,
also
and an
see. I
already
can see
hemorrhage in the
some.
yeah, and an already hemorrhaging division, right? So I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So this is fight number 4 of our pick 6. I bring you Ikram Aliskarov versus Worley Alves. I'll go first on this one, and I'll give you the rest of the time. I don't think either one of us are going to need a whole minute on this. I'm going to go Aliskarov, right? I believe he's an undefeated fighter. I'm going to check his record, or have my people check his record. 14-1, right? He lost to Khamzat Shemayov by KO, but this dude's been on a roll. He's a submission machine. He's gnarly. It looks like he has a third hand when he's grappling against you. Like you have two hands and you trap both hands. You got it covered. All of a sudden, watch this. This third hand comes out of nowhere like this. You're like, where'd that come from? So against a guy who is probably the UFC singing his swan song. Worley Alves, this is a swan song. He hasn't had a lot of wins and he's gone. He's probably gone after this. I hate to say
Yeah,
that, but
yeah. I don't know where he is on his contract or whatnot, but this doesn't seem like a favorable matchup for him, and doesn't even seem one, honestly, that he's really earned. Because aside from just being a lamb to the slaughter, he's 2-4 in his last 6,
mhm.
with wins over guys that I don't know.
Yeah.
So I think this is just one of those ones where you're just kind of propping up the one guy. This may be the last fight of his contract or something like that, but I don't expect Worley Alves to win, and I feel like it's a safer bet the other way.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, let's move on. Fight number
Yeah.
5. Worley Alver. Sorry, Worley was actually Kobe Covington's only loss before he fought um Kamaru Usman for the title. They both only had one loss, and and they're like, wait, who was the one guy to beat those guys? So I
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah.
So let's go into fight number 5. I bring your attention to Muhammad Makayev against Tim Elliott. Who do you got on this?
So Tim Elliott, I love his style. I love his song choice of walkout music. It's a song called I Love Jiu-Jitsu. I love
Yes.
that song by Kennedy. I forget the guy's name, by something Kennedy. It's a great song. I love that walkout song. Muhammad Makayev, though, is a phenom. And when we had John Gooden on our podcast, he was singing this dude's praises. And that was, a year and a half ago. And he was saying that this kid is the guy to watch out for, that he's seen him train in person, that he's seen his dedication and everything, and he's continued to live up to it. He's 10-0. Book it.
Yeah.
Makayev with the win.
Well,
Easy.
Well, you spoke about this fighter a year and a half ago. Let's go from a year and a half ago to the present. You look at his last three fights: Charles Johnson, Gordon, and Filio, all impressive wins. One was a decision, but it was actually a fun decision to watch. I mean, a lot of people don't like decisions unless they're like rock'em sock'em robots. But that was really
Yeah.
really cool. That was like an education and a schooling to show that the casual fan who thinks they can do this is like, no, I'm not getting I'm not getting in the cage with that guy. Yep, I'm going with you
Yeah.
all the way. So, and Tim Elliott, hey, Ultimate Fighter, bites down in his mouthpiece when he needs to. Gave Demetrius Johnson, if you remember everything you can handle, a little scary moment for us because we're big DJ fans. You remember he won the show, and when we saw him like doing good things in the first round, we're like, oh no, 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 no,
What's
no,
happening? Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
So, fights to watch under the radar. I really, really tried to look for this one, and the only one I could come up with was Nathaniel Wood. Nathaniel Wood.
Okay.
I mean, looking at his last few fights right now, he fought Feely. You know, he fought Jordan. He fought Charles Rosa. Unanimous decision, and I'm not talking about the fight to watch in terms of both fighters. I'm talking about the fight to watch. Watch where this guy goes every fight until he gets to where he has to go to whatever end.
Yeah. Yeah. 4-1 in his last 5. Yeah, dude's a good dude. Lots of decisions though is my problem with this guy. You want me to give you my pick for fight to watch?
Let's do it. We're sharing
My
a minute.
my fight to watch is a terrible one, but it's probably the one that's going to open up the early prelims, which is Victoria Dudikova versus Jinyu Frey. I'll tell you, Jinyu Frey has had real problems in the UFC. She's coming off being an Invicta champion, comes into the UFC and has just not been able to find success. She's now 11-9, and she's fighting a girl that's 7-0.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see Jinyu Frey getting it done, and I think this is just going to be Victoria just kind of highlighting what she can do. The only reason I'm calling this out on your podcast is so people know to take that bet. If you're doing a parlay, just add Victoria to it, because it's kind of like, I don't know what the odds are for that, but that's probably a guaranteed win for you. So you're welcome.
Yes. Are you kidding? That is freaking awesome. So let's go. Actually, oh, cool. Well, I haven't done this in a minute. All right. So we bring you, that's the end of our pick six, and good job you and me, because we couldn't find a match of interest as our six, but at the same time educate the audience on what to watch. But hey, this is one of my favorite sections, and I love this for football, but today we're doing this for mixed martial arts. Ladies and gentlemen, topic number 4, I bring you to shame or not to shame.
Shame. Shame. Shame. Shame. Shame.
All right. Hey, 60 seconds to shame or not to shame. I just wanted to have a little fun with this. This is not something worthy of talking about on a intellectually tickling level, or not, because you and I can have fun in an insurance seminar. So let's give it a go on this one. Topic number 4. And I want you to pick one and I'll pick the other. To shame or not to shame? Which one was more shameful? Was it Stoolgate with Yoel Romero? Or was it Scalegate with Daniel Cormier?
Shame.
Not bad.
Shame.
Not yet, honey. She said, I said shame.
My turn.
All right, let's do it.
So I'm picking the one that I think is the most shameful.
Yeah. The most shameful of the two.
It's the scale gate for me, by far. Is the scale gate. But here's the thing though. I'm not shaming Daniel Cormier. I'm shaming the UFC, because how are we able to send a man to the moon but not figure out how to create a barrier so we don't have to see someone naked on a scale? Like, this whole thing is so stupid. The fact that like they have to hold these little towels around Misha Tate while she takes her clothes off, you know. A, figure out how to buy a cardboard box and put it around them so that it fits around them, which I have seen now, I think they start to do. Or B, how about you weigh the weight of the underwear that they're wearing? You're wearing Venom sponsored clothing. It can only be Venom clothing, I think, when they're weighing in. So like, know the weight of these freaking garments and deduct it.
Yeah. Is that an athletic commission thing or the UFC?
I believe so. Can I do a little side thing here?
Hmm.
I got my first commentary gig last month. I flew out to Nova Scotia and I was a commentator for a BJJ pay-per-view with Fight League Atlantic. Shout out to them. On the Friday of that weekend, I also hosted the weigh-ins of their MMA pay-per-view that they did. And there I got to meet the Nova Scotia Combat Commission. I mean, they were on their bleep. Like they had everything lined up to a T. Those commission guys, they came in, they had everything set, they had their rules. Everything that happened with that weigh-in, and this is, a small East Coast promotion, was strictly done by the commission. So when we see these things happening with the weigh-ins and stuff like that, that's on the commission. They're in control of that. I rest that solely on them to figure this out.
Right. That was, to me, it was funny just watching Daniel Cormier. It was like Weekend at Bernie's. Like you're watching a movie, but everyone gets the joke. Everyone knows the man is dead, right? Like so, any like movie critic that was like the audience would have to be absolutely stupid to not know the man's dead. It's a comedy, of course we know the man's dead, and everybody knew what was happening with Daniel Cormier, putting both hands on it. And did you see him pump his fist when he made weight? Like he actually put the work.
He's later come out to say he knew it was like a fraud, right? Like it's so baloney. It's so stupid. But the shame is on.
Yeah.
I'm saying the UFC because UFC, you need to buy something to put around these people so that can't happen, and or B, weigh the goddamn clothes.
Yeah.
I don't understand why I can't do that.
And let's not cover up Misha Tate. We don't have to do that. We can just.
Yeah, I mean we're all grown-ups
like
here. If she drops it, she drops it. But yeah,
all right, my turn. So I'm going to go shame on the athletic commission, which means I'm going to go shame on the first part of this two-part choice. I'm going to go shame on Stillgate. If I'm taking you guys back before some of you may or may not have watched this, Yoel Romero fought one of my favorite fighters in that division at the time, Tim Kennedy, a badass former Green Beret. Tim Kennedy convincingly lost the first round, and somewhere in the second round generated some momentum, got some timely shots, and with a few seconds left looked like he was going for the finish, and then the bell rang. So Yoel Romero sits on this chair, and when it's time to go back, he doesn't get up from the chair. And the whole time the referee's saying, you got to get up, you got to get up. And he brought at least 35, 40 extra seconds to recover, knowing, and we both noticed, if he got up and went right back in, it would have been more of the same. It probably would have been the first time, to my memory, that we saw Yoel Romero finished by KO or TK. I don't think I've ever seen that before. He's got a strong chin, but I thought, when you're talking about wins and losses, when you're talking about rankings, and you're talking about people losing their momentum, that was a very, very unfair thing that happened to Tim Kennedy. Shame, shame, shame on the athletic commission and a referee who didn't have the balls to say, better get off the pot or you're DQ'd. So that was my shame or no shame. I mean, but Daniel Cormier, it makes us angry and laugh at the same time. With his finger, look, with the fingers like this, look at the fingers like, and then when he weighs in, he pumps his fist and like celebrates like he actually did the work to lose that weight. What are you pumping your fist? What are you puffing your chest for, Daniel Cormier? Come on, man. Ryan Clark, talk to him.
Embarrassing.
Oh my God, that was great. So let's move on. Actually, I want to make sure I have this. I have a subject matter called Quick Question. Oh, there it is. I got you, buddy. So, ladies and gentlemen, the last topic number 5, me and Timmy B from the Fight Insight podcast, I bring you Quick Question. Well, there's something I'll fix on the edit. Timmy B, quick question.
Yeah.
Actually, we're going to go 60 seconds on this, and we're going to bang out 6 of them in 60 seconds. So let's go to my minute clock again. Sorry, buddy. And we got it. So 60 seconds and go, Timmy. Quick question. Lightning rounds. Would Who would be a great fight for Raul Rosas? The next one.
Me or any other idiot
For you.
no, I'm saying me. He should fight me or whatever other can the UFC can find. You need to
Right.
pump this kid up. If they want that, you cannot risk him losing. You gotta give him just schlubs.
I say feet in the Sandhagen. Is Connor done with
You're terrible. You're terrible.
Is Connor done with MMA?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Quick question. Did the judges get Barbosa versus Yusuf right last weekend?
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I thought 4-1 personally. Do you have Volk winning the last fight against Makachev?
No. I'll say no.
Me neither. If Stipe wins, is it really an upset?
It will be the greatest upset in the history of the planet.
Wow. Yeah. And as we count down, I'd like to see, and we're done with topic 5 on our horn. Let's honk it. Let's talk a little bit about that. And I definitely want to do another Sports Debate Tuesday with you before that pay-per-view happens.
Yeah.
But segue to that, I would like to say that it's so disrespectful, but I know they got to do what they got to do to talk about who Jones is fighting next after November. We want to make this fight happen. Is he gonna fight, Francis Ngannou? I can't wait to see that fight for the belt. Ngannou's like, I don't care about the belt and this and that. And I'm just like, dude, you got a guy who actually has a victory, a high IQ victory over Francis Ngannou. I mean, geez, how short are people's memory that they forgot that he pressured and actually ragdolled Ngannou that for 5 rounds. Guys, look at Francis Ngannou's win-loss record. It's one of the losses.
Right.
And it was so bad, he lost the next fight to Derek Lewis because he was scared to get off because he'd be the victim of the constant pressure that was provided by the reigning defending champ at the time.
Yeah. I don't know. The problem I got with Stipe is that, he hasn't won a fight since 2023.
Right. Since
2021. Since 2020.
Right.
He hasn't won a fight since 2020. So 3 years he's gone without a win.
Right.
His last 2 wins are against Daniel Cormier,
who's not even in the sport.
Ostensibly is a light heavyweight. He's not even a heavyweight.
He is.
You know what I mean?
He is. He was undefeated.
Okay,
he was undefeated as a heavyweight. He beat Josh Barnett.
Right? But look at him. Look at him. He's not your typical heavyweight. That's great that he finds success and all power to him. But his last 2 wins are against Cormier. So his last real win against a true-sized heavyweight is 2018 against Francis Ngannou. This guy's been gone forever. He has a horrible personality. I hate the way he treats his wife on embedded episodes. I don't like this guy. I just don't like him. I think he's coming in for an easy payday to go in there and get murdered by John Jones in the first round. I don't see this being competitive in the least. And I think he's just going in there for a payday. And I think it's just a marketable fight because everybody calls Stipe the greatest of all time heavyweight. And I think this is an easy way for them to give Jones a win to then claim that title, even though GOAT status doesn't transfer via wins, right?
That's
what they were doing this for. This is an uninteresting fight to me in the least. I hate both of the people, actually, both personally, like John Jones and Stipe. I just don't find either of them great people, and I could care less about this fight. But Jones is going to win it by far. Stipe has no chance.
And I can't go farther the opposite way with this. I think every time Stipe feels like he's being disrespected, he comes up with a performance that surprises a lot of people. The man's only lost 4 fights. He's lost, I believe, a very close fight to Junior Dos Santos, which he avenged. He lost to Stefan Struve in the beginning when, sometimes long arms happen, right? Even though Mark Hunt found a way to uppercut Stefan Struve. And he lost a fight to Daniel Cormier. Everyone gets caught. Daniel Cormier has knockout power in both hands at a heavier division where he doesn't have to eat a salad. And you take into consideration that Daniel Cormier fought a lot of heavy people. So, he's fought Derek Lewis, but I'm not talking about him right now. When you take into consideration that 3 title defenses is a record in a division where anyone can get caught.
Right.
I'm not a moron. I know that John Jones is the favorite to win this. I know John Jones, he has a very strategic camp, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him fight fisticuffs with instead of going the wrestling and grappling like he did with Cyril Gane.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised to see him do. I guess you know that stomping on the knee kick that he does. I don't know what the hell that's called, but it should be illegal.
Yeah. The
Should be
oblique kick.
illegal.
Yeah.
Man, that should be
Yeah.
illegal, dude.
Yeah, that is
But
gross. It damages you real bad. I will say too, Stipe is 41 years old,
yep.
right? Now
But
I
that's
have
average for heavyweight.
passed the 40-year-old threshold myself. Okay. And I will tell you, for those that aren't 40 yet, your body just declines terribly after 40. Like, you wake up with injuries that you never knew you had. You wake up with pain. You don't heal the same way anymore. You're a volleyball guy. I got this injury in volleyball where my tendon snapped over my finger. It just doesn't heal anymore. It doesn't go straight anymore, no matter what happens. Stipe being 41, fighting a 36 or 37-year-old John Jones who's, high on life, high on his energy. There's a big difference when you're around that age and when you're on that side of 40. It's hard, man. It's hard.
Well, I believe the average age was John Jones is 37 now. The average age of the last few champions was 37 years old, right? Too bad Randy Couture had to change that average up. I think he was like 44 years old.
He rounded it up by a lot. Yeah.
He kind of really did, right? But like,
I just think age is a factor.
It is, except for the heavyweight division. They're all old.
if you're continually competing. I don't know where Stipe trains. I don't know who he trains with.
Right.
Like, when you look, when you think about everybody else, and they're at AKA, or they're at American Top Team, or they're at MMA Masters, like, these guys are at big gyms. I never really recall where Stipe trains. I don't recall that he trains with a bunch of other UFC guys, because he's in Cleveland. I don't know what he's doing. But you got to be in that grind day to day to be able to keep your body in that shape that you need to. Now, of course, he's a world champion. He's going to do it. But 3 years away from his last win.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a long time, dude. It's a long time.
Something else people need to take into account is you have a hard stop, so we're going to get out of here. I didn't even want it to be this long. It's just MMA happens.
I'm sorry.
No, but MMA happens, right? Something I would like to finish with, and I'll give you the last word on this. The one thing that people don't talk about with John Jones that brings him to the table and makes him so hard to kill, more than Steven Seagal, is the guy. He's got a strong chin. John Jones, I want to talk about his chin. He's got his mouthpiece knocked out by Daniel Cormier. The thing flew 20 feet in the air. He's gotten caught by Dominic Reyes. And the guy shows that he can take a hit. So, look, the only chance I gave Stipe is Stipe has power in both hands. He's got that back pedal left, the left that actually stuns people. He actually loaded up and caught Francis Ngannou. If you remember, before he went in for the kill, he thought he had Ngannou rocked so where he can do that, and he was wrong. But when you saw even a God King could bleed, you gave Stipe Miocic hope on that, right? So. But John Jones, I wanted to talk about his ability to. He's got a chin, man. I'm very impressed.
Yeah. Well, when you've had the career he has, and you've trained and if you think about it, like, those few fights that you're talking about where John Jones has been hit and stuff like that, but he hasn't taken a lot of damage over his career either. He was very dominating as a light heavyweight, and he did not take a lot of damage. So when you think about that longevity over the years in the sport, he hasn't taken those hits. So there's that benefit as well for him. Yeah,
I agree. There's something to be said about not actually coming out of fights where, like, you don't have, where you're still fresh. You're like, geez, I want to take another fight now. I did this long ass training camp. Can I fight someone else tonight? So all right, so cool. Timmy B, Fight Insight podcast. Anybody want to keep up with this guy? Talk to him about it before we go. Talk to him about it. How do they follow you again?
So come on over. Find me at Fight Insight Podcast. You can find me at Fight Insight Podcast on Instagram, Fight Insight Podcast on YouTube, Spotify, wherever, anywhere you get a podcast, you'll find us. But Instagram is my main hub. That's where I interact with our fans, viewers, and listeners. Every week, we're on episode 141 this week. Wow. We had CEO and president of Invicta Fighting Champions, Shannon Knapp. She was our guest this week, so she was incredible. We've had incredible guests every week. Chris Lieben was my guest just a few weeks ago, talking about how he's an official now. So
God,
we have great people every week. We have great conversation. My co-host now for the last little while is a ring announcer for Up Next Fighting down in California, an MMA ring announcer. So she's fantastic. Come on and join us. You know, if you come because you saw me on this podcast, please say hello and let me know that's where you found me from. I owe Jason $5 for every fan that does that. That's what he made me sign. I don't know if that's a legally binding contract, but do find me there. It's good fun, man. Even if you don't know MMA, and if you don't know MMA, I don't know why you were listening to this whole talk, but if you don't know MMA, it doesn't matter. We talk about a whole bunch of nonsense, educational stuff, important stuff, but you don't have to be like a diehard fan to watch our podcast. So please check us out. Thank you.
Awesome. It has been an absolute pleasure having you back on this show. I mean, the first time we did it, we bounced on a lot of subjects, but this thing, I mean, you keep me organized. So for all
I
of
love
you,
it, dude. I love
yes.
your podcast. I
Yeah.
love it. I watch your other stuff. I do enjoy the way that you talk, the professionalism of you. I've been a guest on a lot of podcasts, and dude, I do enjoy yours one of the most because of the professionalism and just the structure that you have around it. I think it's really good. It's very enjoyable. It's very enjoyable to listen to.
Don't make me, I'm gonna cry. You know what do you know what I was gonna say? I was gonna say Timmy B might love you, but to the audience, but I can't stand you. But now I can't say that anymore. I love you guys too. All right. Timmy D did it to me. He did it for you. So for all of you at home, for all of you on your iPhones, iPads, for all of you on your desktop, which I'm looking at, who runs the world? Old school, baby. For my man Timmy B, this is episode 97 of Sports Debate Tuesday. I'm gonna hit my music. We are out of here. Come check out the Option Podcast on OptionVB.com. It's also available on iTunes and Spotify and on YouTube under the NY Varsity Sports handle. You're going to love what you hear.